True freedom isn't found in wealth or power, but in something far more profound. The Roman Empire, at its zenith, was a tapestry of power, conquest, and rigid social hierarchies. At its very bottom, the enslaved. Yet from this cruelest of positions emerged a voice that would echo through millennia, teaching not just ordinary people, but emperors themselves, how to navigate life with unwavering inner peace. This was Epictetus. Born a slave in Hierapolis, Phrygia, around 55 AD, his early life was marked by hardship and servitude. Imagine the stark contrast: the opulence of Roman villas against the daily struggle for survival, the absolute lack of control over one's own destiny. He was eventually brought to Rome, serving Epictetus, a wealthy freedman who was secretary to Emperor Nero. It was a brutal household, and Epictetus endured physical abuse, reportedly even suffering a permanent limp when his master twisted his leg. Despite this suffering, or perhaps because of it, Epictetus found solace and purpose in philosophy. His master, recognizing his keen intellect, allowed him to study with Musonius Rufus, a prominent Stoic philosopher. This was a pivotal moment, a flicker of light in profound darkness. Stoicism, with its emphasis on virtue, reason, and distinguishing what is within our control from what is not, resonated deeply with a man who had so little control over his external circumstances. It offered a framework for enduring the unendurable, for finding freedom where there seemed to be none. Around the age of 30, Epictetus gained his freedom, though the exact circumstances remain unclear. This newfound status didn't lead him to seek power or revenge, but rather to dedicate his life to teaching the principles that had sustained him. He taught in Rome until around 93 AD, when Emperor Domitian, fearing the influence of philosophers, banished all philosophers from the city. Epictetus then relocated to Nicopolis in Greece, establishing his own school. He never wrote anything down himself. All we have of his teachings comes from his devoted student, Arrian, who compiled his lectures into two seminal works, Discourses and the Enchiridion, or Handbook. These aren't abstract theories, they are practical guides to living. At the heart of Epictetus's philosophy is a radical idea. The only thing truly within our control is our judgment, our opinions, our desires, and our aversions. Everything else, our bodies, possessions, reputation, even life itself, is ultimately external and not truly ours to command. Consider the profound implication for a former slave. He had no control over his birth, his physical abuse, his freedom. But he could control how he reacted to these circumstances, how he interpreted them, and crucially, how he chose to live his inner life. This distinction between what is up to us and not up to us is the bedrock of Stoic tranquility. When we desire things not within our control, we invite frustration and suffering. When we focus on what we can control, we find peace. Epictetus taught that we shouldn't be disturbed by things themselves, but by our judgments about them. Death, for instance, isn't inherently bad. It's our fear of it, our judgment that it's a terrible thing that causes distress. This doesn't mean indifference or apathy. It means recognizing that certain events are simply facts of life, and our power lies in our response. A storm rages. We cannot stop it, but we can choose how to secure our ship, or even how to feel about the rain. He urged his students to practice what he called premeditation of evils. By contemplating potential misfortunes, loss, illness, even death, we can mentally prepare ourselves, reducing their shock and power should they occur. This wasn't morbid dwelling, but a pragmatic exercise in resilience. If you anticipate losing a loved one, you cherish their presence more deeply, and when the inevitable happens, you've already mentally processed some of the grief, allowing for a more reasoned acceptance. Epictetus's teachings attracted a diverse following, including some of the most powerful men in Rome. Emperor Hadrian reportedly admired him, and perhaps most famously, Emperor Marcus Aurelius was a devout follower, carrying a copy of the Enchiridion with him. Imagine the irony: a former slave teaching the ruler of the known world how to be truly free. Marcus Aurelius, with all his imperial power, understood that true sovereignty lay not in commanding armies, but in commanding oneself. For Epictetus, freedom was an internal state, impervious to external circumstances. Chains could bind his body, but they could never bind his mind, his judgment, his will. This was the ultimate liberation, accessible to anyone, regardless of their social standing. He taught that our core identity, our proherses or moral character, is our most precious possession. It is the faculty of choice, the inner citadel that no external force can penetrate without our consent. To surrender this is the only true enslavement. In a world obsessed with acquiring more wealth, more status, more possessions, Epictetus's message is a stark counterpoint. True richness lies not in what you have, but in how you relate to what you have and, more importantly, to what you don't. His teachings remain profoundly relevant today. We live in a world of constant external demands, of information overload, of comparison and anxiety. Epictetus offers a timeless antidote. Focus on what you can control, accept what you cannot, and cultivate an unshakable inner calm. He shows us that even from the most humble and oppressed beginnings, a life of profound wisdom and influence can emerge. That the greatest chains are often those we forge for ourselves, through our desires and our fear of things outside our grasp. Epictetus, the slave who taught emperors, reminds us that the quest for true freedom isn't an external battle, but an internal journey. A journey of self-mastery, of understanding, and ultimately of peace. If you're curious about how these ancient ideas can transform your daily anxieties, explore our deep dive into the practical exercises of stoicism next. If you're curious about how these ancient ideas can transform your daily anxieties, explore our deep dive into the practical exercises of stoicism next.